Okay, before we start, I need your feedback. Could you watch the videos on equation of the circle and on percentages that I sent yesterday? No. Amina is telling me no. Just write plus if you did watch, and based on your feedback, I'll spend time on theory. So the first thing, let's study equation of the circle. Okay, we'll see the general formula, the general form of equation of the circle. And then we'll see how to complete the square. Usually you have equation of the circle, you have a square equations, like square equation for x and square equation for y. And sometimes you have to complete the square. So there is a technique called completing the square. So after covering these two things, we'll try to solve the problems. So let's try to see the general formula of the equation of the circle. For example, let's imagine you have x plus k squared plus y plus h squared equals r. So in this case, x is your variable, y is your variable, k and h is just some numbers. It can be a negative number, it can be a positive number, it can be zero. So k is just some constant. In this case, r, I wrote it as a big R, and you'll see why. So basically, this is the general form of equation of the circle. Anytime you have a circle, basically you have xy coordinates, x and y. The first thing what you have to find is you have to find the center of circle. So any point in xy coordinate, let's say this point. So this point will have x coordinate and this point will have y coordinate, right? And the most important thing of the equation of the circle, you should be able to know how to find the center of this circle. In this case, the center of circle, let me write down as C as a center. So the center of the circle will be minus k minus h. Or not to confuse you, we can just change the sign. So instead of plus, let's add minus here and add minus here, so it's easier to understand. So in this case, the center of the circle will be, k with opposite sign. So in this case, your k was negative. The center of the circle on x-axis will be just k. And then here your h was negative. It will be just h, positive h. And if your k is positive, the center will be negative k, and the same with h. So these are the x coordinates, and this is the y coordinates. Okay, the next part we have to figure out what's the radius of the circle. So radius of the circle is the square root of r. So usually you're given r, and usually it's just some number. In order to figure out what's the radius, you have to take square root of r. So radius equals to square root of r. And yeah, that's it. I'll give you one problem. Try to solve it. I'll give you 1 minute. It's an easy problem. Please write down your answer as a private message. Okay, because it's really easy, one additional thing is what is the radius of this circle? Please write your possible answer also. Okay, good. All of you answered correctly. So let me try to solve it. In this case, you have x squared plus y squared equals 4. Anytime you have something squared plus something squared, and something is your x, and something this is your y. So if your x variable is squared and y variable is squared, most probably this is the circle. In this case, if you want to find the center of the circle, what you have to do, you can represent it as in this way: x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 4. Basically, this is the same as this one. If you're subtracting 0 from x, you're not changing anything. And if you're subtracting 0 from y, you're not changing anything. And in this case, this 0 is your k, and this 0 is your h. So the center will be 0, 0. And the radius, in this case 4, this is your big R. And the radius, this is the same as square root of big R, which is square root of 4, which is 2. The answer is A. Okay, now let's try to talk about completing the square. Before going there, go to Desmos so you can visualize this circle. Okay, in this case, this is our circle, right? And you see that inside of the circle, you have -2, and inside of the x, you have -2, and inside of the y, you have -4. So in this case, your center, let me write, your center will be 2 and 4, because you have -2, so you just change the sign to the positive one, and your center on x will be 2. So basically this is 2, so your center on x will be on 2, and then you see -4, you change the sign, it will be +4, and your center on y will be on 4. It is somewhere 1, 2, 3, 4, it is here. So if you draw the line, you'll figure out that this is your center, which is 2, 4. Okay, what's the radius of this circle?
3.
Yeah, radius is the same as square root of r. In this case, 9 is your big R, and you take square root of 9, which is 3. And you can check it out. So basically from this point, this is 2 on x. If you go here, you will get to this point. You'll get to this point, and this point has coordinate 5 on x. Basically, the distance from 2 to 5 is 3, right? And the length of your radius is 3. So it is confirmed. Okay, the next part is completing the square. Let me cancel it. Okay. For example, let's imagine you have this equation. Let's say x squared plus 4x equals to 0. Okay, in this case, what you can do here, what if you add some number? Let's say you add some number c, and then you subtract some number. Basically, you are adding some number and you're subtracting the same number. For example, let's imagine you have x squared plus 4x plus 1000 minus 1000. Are we changing something? Is it still the same equation as this one? What do you think? Are they equal?
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are, because 1,000 and minus 1,000, they will cancel out and you are actually not changing anything. But we have to figure out, we have to add such number c that it will bring this form. Let me write x squared plus 4x. So we have to add such c and subtract such c, that this part will kind of transform your square to x plus x0 squared, where x0 is just some constant, it's just some number. So we need it in order to build our equation of the circle, as you realize here. So this is the general form, right? So general form is given that you have an expression squared, right? And you have to come to this point. Sometimes you will be given just x squared plus, let's say, 6x, and that's it. In order to build equation of the circle, you have to transform this one to x plus some number. Let me write c, and then you have to square it. So in this form, you can build the square, you can build that circle. But if you're just left with this form, you cannot build it. So that's why you have to add some number and you have to subtract the same number. And from this, you will come to this. Okay, now the question is, which number we can add to this expression, x squared plus 4x? Which number we can add in order to transform it to the expression squared? What do you think?
4.
Okay, let me see. If you add 4, what you will see, what you'll have. So basically you're adding 4, but you have to also subtract 4, right? Don't forget to subtract 4 as well. And the same is equal to 0. And then from this, we have to transform it. And actually this is the same as x plus 2 squared. Okay, if you have doubt, x plus 2 squared, this is the same as x plus 2 multiplied by x plus 2. And if you open the brackets, it will be x by x, which is x squared, and then x by 2, which is 2x, and then 2 by x, which is 2x, and then 2 by 2, which is 4. And this is the same as x squared plus 4x plus 4. And you see that this is equal to this one. Okay, in this case, it was obvious how to find C. Sometimes you have difficult expressions, and how you'll figure out which number I should add. Basically, there is the general form is if you have ax squared plus bx plus c, this is the general form of quadratic equation, right? We consider that your a is 1, so your a will be always 1, so we can just forget about it. And you have x squared plus bx plus c. Usually b is given. Actually, always b is given. B will be some number. It can be 2, it can be 6, it can be any number. It can be positive and it can be negative. But C, you have to, figure out what kind of C I should add, because C is not given. In order to figure out which number I should add, what you have to do, basically your C will be equal to B divided by 2 squared. And let's check it out. For example, if I give you this equation, x squared plus 6x, and we have to figure out which number C we should add and subtract. How you will find C? What's the value of C in this case? What you should do?
Is it 9?
Let us check, right? In this case, 6, this is your B, right? If you compare with this one. 6 is your B, and C is the same as B divided by 2 squared. Let's do it. C is the same as 6 divided by 2, and we square it. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 3 squared, this is 9. And yeah, C is 9, that's correct. So we have to add 9, and we have to subtract 9. So in this case, this part will be the same as x plus 3 squared. Okay, maybe you have some difficulties to come from this to this one. Basically, what you have to do, you just have to write square, and you have to add the square root of C. So basically, this, let's say, we are in the general form, what was here, right? Basically, this number k and this number h, this is basically square root of C. So in this case, look, your C was minus 9, right? And actually it was plus 9. So your C will be square root of 9. So basically this number here, it will be square root of C. And square root of 9, this is 3. The same thing you are doing for y. Maybe you will be given that your y squared plus, let's say, 12y plus c minus c. Okay, this is the task for you. Which c we have to plug here? First, find the c, and then find this relationship, y plus square root of c, and give me the answer. You'll have 1 minute. Okay, Amina, Litsa, Tara, that's correct. Malika, that's correct. Good. So let me try to show you. So in this case, you know that your b is 12, right? Basically, your b is the coefficient before y. Your a is coefficient before y squared. In this case, a is 1. So what you have? You have that your c should be equal to b divided by 2 squared. And if you plug b is 12. It will be 12 divided by 2, and you square it. 12 divided by 2 is 6, and 6 squared, this is the same as 36. So in this case, you have to add plus 36, and then you have to subtract minus 36. Okay, and basically this expression, square root of c, square root of 36, this is the same as 6. This is the answer. Okay, guys, anytime you found which c you have to add, right? Basically, you'll use this one and you'll transform it to this one. But you're left with this part, minus 36. And what you have to do is here, you have to transfer it to the right part. And the right part where you have r, usually you have, you have your equations. On the left part, let's say x squared plus something something plus y squared and so on and so forth. And on the right part, you just have r, right? And anytime you have this coefficient, basically you have minus c, you have to transfer it to the right. And so it will be plus c. In this case, you can transfer minus 36, it will be plus 36. Okay, I believe you're ready to solve the next problem. Basically, the next problem is pretty challenging. So in this case, k is just some number, right? And first of all, you have to complete the x. Here you have x squared minus 4x. You have to complete the square. And then you have to complete the square for y, right? And then everything that is left, which is basically minus c from x and minus c from y, you have to transfer it to the k. And once you transfer it to the k, you have to figure out such value for k, that it will make tangent for x and for y coordinates. What I mean by tangent? So tangent means that if you have your circle and this is your x and y axis, basically you have circle and it is tangent to y and it's tangent to x. Basically it touches y, right? And it touches x. So you have to figure out what radius I need to have in order to our circle be tangent to x and y axis. Because a is too big. Like if you put instead of k 12, to the 12 you have to add c, and then you have to add another c, and then you have to take square root. And this square
Yeah, but instead of plus, it will be minus 4 because it's minus 4x minus 4
not
epsilon.
really, no.
So it will be like plus. Okay.
You're adding c and then you're subtracting c, right? So
Yeah.
basically this negative c, you have to transfer it to the right part, and in the right part it will become positive. So
Yeah, then yeah, okay.
So I mean, k plus 8, that's good. Basically, k plus 8, this is your big R. And your radius equals to k plus 8 square root, right? And you have to choose such k that your radius equals to the number. Like just try to, draw your circle and find the center of the circle. And then find the distance between your center and between two x or y coordinate, let's say line. It doesn't matter, to y or x, it doesn't matter.
Well, yeah.
Just come to this equation. Basically, you know the r, which r you need to take. You know the length of your radius. Like just try to plug your center. First of all, you will know what's the center of your circle, right? Once
Yeah.
you plug the center of your circle, you can count how far it's from the y or how far it's from the x. And this how far, basically, this is your radius. And you
So
know,
I actually got it right the first time.
no,
No.
but it was really close. No, it was really close.
Oh,
I believe we can start to solve it together. Let me see the answers. Victoria Pazur, yeah, that's correct. Elitsa, that's correct. Good. So I've got only two correct answers. Like, this is first time I have so few correct answers. Okay, I mean, that's correct. So let me try to write it here. So here you have x squared plus y squared minus 4x minus 4y. What I do usually, I kind of try to rewrite it together. So I'll write x squared minus 4x plus y squared minus 4y is equal to k. Okay, like from this point, you have to reason. Do you agree that x and y will have the same c in this case? Because they have the same b, which is minus 4. So if they have the same b, then for sure they will have the same c. And what is c? c in this case, this is the same as b divided by 2 squared. So in this case, it will be 4 divided by 2 squared. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared, this is 4. So I figure out what number I should add. So it will be x squared minus 4x plus 4. And don't forget to subtract 4. Okay, this is 4x. And then you have y squared minus 4y plus 4, and then minus 4 is equal to k. Okay, now you have to group it. So this one, and then this one you have to group. So this one is the same as x minus 2. So first of all, you have to see the sign. In this case, you see that the sign between x squared and x is negative. That's why the sign inside of the expression will be negative. It will be x minus, and then you know your c is 4, and you have to write x minus square root of c. And instead of c, you write square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2 squared. So basically, this expression is equal to this one. Then you have minus 4, and then the same for y. It will be y minus 4, actually minus 2, squared minus 4 is equal to k. And now you have to transfer this minus 4 and this minus 4, you have to move it to the right part. So it will be plus 4, plus 4. Okay, now you have x minus 2 squared plus y minus 2 squared is equal to k plus 8. Okay, what is the center of our circle in this case? How do we find the center?
4 and 4.
Not really. It is not 4, because you have to look for this number.
It's 2 and 2.
Yeah, so in this case, you have negative 2 inside of expression. So the center on x will be the same number, but different sign. So it will be positive 2. And then you are looking for the center in y. It is minus 2. So you have to switch the sign. It will be 2. So the center of your circle is 2, 2. Okay, what is the radius of the circle?
2.
So far, we
But-
know that this is 2, but from this equation, what's the radius?
It's gonna be square root k plus 8.
Yeah, square root of k plus 8, because k plus 8, this is your r, and radius, this is the same as square root of big R. And yeah, this is k plus 8. Now, you can try to kind of build it. You can write it here, and you write down your center. In this case, your center is 2 on x and 2 on y. So it will be somewhere here. So this is your center, 2, 2. And you have to build such a radius that touches x-axis, or you can choose the radius that touches y-axis. It doesn't matter, because the center is, let's say, symmetric on x and on y. So if I try to build a circle, your circle should have a radius. What is the length of the radius should be that is tangent to x-axis?
It's 2.
Yeah, it's 2. Basically, this distance is equal to 2. That's why your radius should be 2. Or the same you can check from this distance. So from 0 until 2 on x, and it will be 2. So you know the value of r. R is equal to 2. So you just solve it. Instead of r, you write 2, and 2 is equal to square root of k plus 8. And you just solve it. You square both sides, and then you have 4 is equal to k plus 8. And then you transfer it to the left side. It will be 4 minus 8 is equal to k, and minus 4 is equal to k. And you can write k is equal to minus 4. which is C. Okay, this is like the longest way to solve this problem. Actually, you don't have to spend that much time to solve this problem. You just have to look for the equation. Like right away, you can see that the C should be 4, right? Like if you're good at equation of the circle, you will right away see that your C is 4. So that's why your K will be K plus 8. And then your center right away, you can easily find that your center will be 2, 2. So since your center 2, 2, it's easy to find that the radius should be 2 in order to be tangent for x and for y. And then you solve it. 2 is equal to square root of k plus 8, and you square both sides, and you find your k. And this is actually not that long. Okay, guys, I believe this is a great time to take a 10 minutes break. And I will send you the problem that Elitsa, you have sent me this problem. I'll just redirect message. I believe I already redirected the message to the group. And if you remember some additional information, please write down to the group, and I will just have a look how to solve this problem, and we'll try to solve it together.
I can send a photo of the notes that I have. It's just that I don't know how correct they are. I don't know what I've written even. I'm very confused looking at it now, but I'll send it.
Yeah, send the photo. I'll try to see the connection. Okay. You can remain here. I will just let you know in 10 minutes when we will continue.